2016 Dodge Challenger Hellcat power steering pump replacement. Step 1, jack the car up. Use jack stands, chock the rear wheels for safety. Take off the air intake. I have an aftermarket, so loosen nose clamp, unbolt the rain shield, and I unplugged 2 of the sensors and I left this one in and just kind of like set it over there. So now all we have to do is locate the tensioner, which is right down there, that big metal thing, and you'll see I have a 3/8 ratchet, no socket, just a square, because you'll see a square hole at the bottom. Put your 3/8 ratchet in there, and because this is a rather tough thing to turn, I am putting the handle of my jack around it. If you have a 3/8 drive breaker bar, you can also use that. I attempted to use my 1/2-inch breaker bar with a step down on it to 3/8, but there's not really a lot of room between the fan and the tensioner, so it didn't work. So then what you want to do is move that and then grab the belt. I'll try and do that from here. Grab the belt, move it off of the power steering pulley. I can't do this while I'm holding the camera, but actually, maybe. Yeah, so move the belt off of the power steering pulley and let it go. Yeah, there we go. Set it to the side. Let the tensioner go. Set this stuff down where we're not going to forget it. Get this ratchet out to get it out of the way for now. Okay. Alright, this next step is going to get messy. So, I recommend latex gloves. Find you some pliers about this size if possible, or if you have hose clamp pliers, those would work even better. So, a little trick I'm going to use here. I'm going to take a good old jack handle. So we're going to disconnect that line, that low pressure line with the hose clamp on it. We're going to disconnect that and let it drain. So essentially, take this opening here. You don't have to do this part, but I'm going to stick the pipe straight down. Oh, that didn't really work. But basically what I'm doing is trying to pinpoint where the fluid is going to fall. So I know it's coming through here. So this is like the first part of the K-member, I guess. I don't know, like Dodge has a weird underside. I'm not really used to it. So get a drain pan, the bigger the better. Take your pliers. I'm gonna pull this around so I can get to it better. You want to grab around the 2 ends here. This is really hard with one hand. I really wish you had a camera person. So since you grab, squeeze, wiggle to side, and whoop. Okay. So now that that's not being held on tight anymore, you can use your hand or the pliers and yank this off. Okay, so interestingly enough, it didn't come gushing out. It's just leaking from the reservoir. So that's going to be a slow drip into the drain pan. And if you actually grab that hose and just point it straight up like that, then it's not going to leak because gravity. So, cool. Next thing, 2 13mm bolts that are in a bit of a precarious position. So there's a little trick to get to these. So take a 3/8 ratchet, because the half's going to be too big, and get a little extension. I got the Harbor Freight extension set, and I guess this is like, what, 2 inches or something extension. 13mm socket. Look for, gotta use my dominant hand here. Look for holes in the pulley. So the pulley has holes that are expressly there for you to be able to access the bolts. All right, 2 tips. 1, take the cap off to relieve some pressure and more fluid will come out. And 2, once you get these started, once you get them to a point where you can undo them with your hand, do so. Because the further out they go, the closer the ratchet's going to get to the fan, and it's going to get stuck eventually, and there's going to be no room, and then you're going to have to push it back in, and then do it with your fingers. Alright, next step, high pressure line. Line wrench, I'm using a 17, but it's a little big, so this might be a 16. Don't take my word for it. I just don't have a 16 in the set that I'm using, but I got it off, so... this is probably going to leak fluid too, so hopefully you still have your little drain pan down there. I'm not sure if there's any like fluid stored in here, how that works. Same thing as the low pressure line, just leave it facing up, just set it down there, and you should be good to go. Okay, Dodge is sneaky. We got one more bolt. It is located right beneath that high pressure connection. Not that bolt right there in the center of the camera, but okay, now it's in the center of the camera. It's hiding right beneath that high pressure connection, and you got to go through the hole in the pulley to get to it, just like you did the 2 on the other side. And that's all there is to it. The last bolt, you're going to want to support the weight of the pump with one hand, and then unthread the bolt with your other hand using your fingers, and then it'll come out. Then you can just pick up the pump and set it down. You can put the bolt through the hole in the pulley, and then there you go. There's your bolts. There's your 3 bolts to hold it in. There's your high pressure line. Your low pressure line. Reinstallation is just the opposite. Don't even worry about fluid until it's all done.